You know, there's no reason why it shouldn't work, but you know, this is locked. Turn that into the unlocked position. Open your door. You're good to go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the MCE Off-Road Garage. Today we're going to be going through these nice shiny aluminum door handles that we're making for the Can-Ams. Specifically this one's going to be for the Defenders with the lock, but we do make the version, a non-locking version as well. Right here. That's for the ones that came before the locks, for the Commanders. That's going to be a separate video. The process is going to be pretty similar, but it's going to be replacing these plastic handles here. So we'll get over here. These are already installed, but we're going to go ahead and pull this off and then show you how to install them the proper way. So we'll go through an overview and then we'll get into the installation process. All right, so when you get your handle kit, depending on the options you selected, you're either going to have two handles for the 3-door version, the 4-door version, 6-seat max. Those are going to have 4 handles. Each handle is going to come with a barrel guide for the locks, and they're all going to have these pins pre-pressed in from us, so that way you don't have to worry about doing that either. Tools that we're going to need for the install, it's pretty minimal. We all know how much Can-Am loves their Torx and push pins, so we're going to need a T30 Torx, a T27, and a T20 to remove the bolts and everything. It's also going to be helpful if you have a small flathead screwdriver for removing the pin out of the center of the handle there. So we'll get over to the machine and start taking it apart. All right, so on the front doors, there's going to be 4 bolts. You got a T30, T30, and then another T30 back in here. And then up in the front, the small one, this is that one of the T20s. So you're going to pull that out. For the rear doors, you're going to have this upper bolt here. It's a T30. These two don't need to be pulled out. Leave those ones alone, just this one in the middle of the two. And then you're also going to have 2 in the back, T30 there, and a T30 there. So 1, 2, that center one, and then we'll pull the panels off. So now with the bolts removed, I like to start at the front. Just kind of pull it out. Take the top edge of the door and just kind of pull it out towards you. There's snaps on the upper side that hold everything in. And from that point, you're going to pull the handle out. Then you can see down inside here, there's latches down on the bottom. So you're going to lift this up and then slide it back off the handle like that. And that'll be the outer skin removal for the front. For the rear, I do a real similar process. Start at the front, pull it out, and work your way along the top. Pull your handle out, slide it up and off. You can see where these ones are latched in the same way as the front door. So now from this point on, the front handles and the rear handles, the process is going to be basically the same. So I just took the back one off just to show you guys the difference in the bracket, basically. So you have your T30 Torx here that hold the rear bracket on, and then on the front bracket, they're one on the top there, and then one on the front side underneath. So that's going to be the difference in the mounting brackets, just so that way you have a visual reference of what we're doing. So to remove these handles, this plastic clip here, get your finger back behind it. We're just going to pull this out towards you to unlock the latch. So we're just going to pull that latch off, and then we're going to go ahead and take the two T30 Torx out of the front handle, and on the rear it's going to be the same way. The latch is just underneath the bracket here, so you pull that out the same way. Then you take your T30 Torx out. Alright, so now you have your stock handle assembly removed from the machine. First thing you're going to want to do is this center pin here. There's this little locking latch that you can see right here. So you can depress that latch down and then push it through the handle. Sometimes it'll get caught like up inside of here where the latch will come back out again, and that's where that screwdriver is going to be kind of helpful. Also, if you slide the handle up to close the gap, so that way when you pull this out it doesn't get caught either. It just depends on how you do it, but that latch is the key to getting this pin out for sure. Then from that point, you just pull your bracket off the handle, pull your linkage off, take your spring out. Note the orientation of that spring because it's going to go the same way back onto the new one. And then here is where you have your T27 Torx. You're going to pull that out of there next. So we got that bolt out. This stuff we're all reusing. This locking latch then comes off. We're reusing that. Obviously, we're reusing the lock. And then this handle and this stock barrel guide we are not using. So the stock barrel guides are orientated. They have to be a certain direction in order to fit in there. So keep in mind that ours is not like that, but if you are thinking why there's a difference, there is a difference. So don't worry about ours being orientated a certain direction like theirs is. So now the next step is going to be to install the barrel guide, the new barrel guide, into the new handle. Basically that's just going to set down inside of there. You can see there's a lobe here and a lobe here. Those are going to line up with the lobe cutouts in the handle. That's going to keep this from rotating around. One trick that there is, you can put that, slide that in there, and then if it's not quite fitting up, like if it doesn't fall in there perfectly, you can take the old barrel guide, line it up on top of the new one, and when you push in, you can kind of hear that it'll kind of click into place. So then you know that that's in there, it's locked in, you're all set from that point. So the next step on this, make sure that your rubber gasket is up around the lock portion, not that it's pushed down or anything like that. It should be brought up nice around the outer edge, and where these little fingers are here, I always install those towards the back side of the handle, so that way the slot is kind of in line lengthwise with the handle. You just push that into place. The seal's gonna seal up around the edge, and then you're gonna take your locking latch, put that so that way it's faced long ways as well. You can reinstall your screw here. Now the trick to tightening this screw is, you know, put your key in the lock, and then go ahead and grab your Torx. It's the wrong size, but then grab your Torx, then go ahead and tighten it down with obviously with a ratchet, not by hand, but as a visual. You want to hold the key, then tighten this down. Otherwise, when you go to tighten it down, you're just going to spin this around, and it's not going to hold, and you will have a risk of breaking the barrel on the inside if you're using too much force on it. So it's always best just to hold it in there with the key, and then tighten it down snugly that way. So once you have that installed, you just check your operation, make sure that it, unlocked position, locked position. This pin is what holds it from going too far. So, your key still comes out. If you're offset a little bit, your key doesn't come out of there. So it needs to be in that vertical or horizontal position to get the key out. Next step is reinstalling everything, obviously. So we will grab our spring, put the spring back on there like so. We'll grab our latch, that on there. Then we'll take our bracket and we'll set that so that way those spring tabs are inside that slot. And then you pretty much just push that handle down into place and install the pin. So now at this point, you're good to go. Everything's installed. All of the assembly process is going to be the same, whether it's a front door or rear door. The bracket's different, but how it all mounts together is exactly the same. So we'll head back over to the machine here and I'll show you how to get it all back together. All right, so here, back at the door, you're just gonna hold your handle bracket back up in place. Go ahead, start your screws by hand first. Then we'll go ahead and tighten those. All right, then you're gonna take your latch, just set that back down in the hole, and then simply slide that plastic tab, push it in until it clicks. That way you know it's attached to that handle. And then you just go ahead and test, make sure it opens up properly. Should be no issues there. Going back through here, you can see some of these tabs got stuck in the door frame versus staying on the plastic. You're going to want to be careful removing those, because if they fall down into the door, it's not super fun to get them back out. So just be very careful getting those back out if they get stuck. And then you just want to be sure that they are attached onto these upper tabs for when you put it back in. So the reassembly process is the opposite of the disassembly process. So we're going to want to get that front tab in that slot first, and then we're actually going to pull our door handle out into the door handle opening here. Then we're just going to kind of tip it forward. In this case, this mirror's kind of in the way, so push it down, get it out of the way. And then we got to get the lower tabs all in place. Set it down. In this case, I usually like to push this panel forward as far as it can go, and then push it in to lock those tabs. And then from there, you can kind of see, make sure everything's lined up. If you need to push the panel backwards or forwards a little bit to get the holes lined up, you can do that. And then you're just going to go ahead and reinstall that hardware. And the installation process is complete for the door handles. Alright, so if you wanted to, there's no reason why it shouldn't work, but, this is locked. Go ahead, turn that into the unlocked position. Open your door. You're good to go. So, at this point, everything's done. If anybody has any questions before you purchase or during installation, after, you can always reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you. And if you want to get the updates on any new products we have, new installation videos, obviously subscribe to the page and you'll get a notification when we have new videos. So, all right, everybody, safe riding.